How to self-tape for both modeling and acting. Now, self-tapes are typically more for acting, but more and more these days we're having people ask for self-tapes from modeling, so I have included it for you. The basics of any self-tape is to have good lighting, a solid backdrop, clear sound, and good framing. Let's start with the light. Then you would also want a tripod, a backdrop, and a microphone. Now, you do not have to purchase any of these things. You could use a plain wall. You could set it up on a bunch of different books instead of a tripod. You could use the lights you already own. You could use the microphone on the phone. But if you are looking to invest in equipment, this is the equipment you should have. When it comes to lighting, this was one of my setups. In the purple circles, you see softbox lights. In the teal circles, you see ring lights that are lighting up my background. And you could also look into some LED panel lights. If you have one light, you would imagine that I am standing in front of that tripod and you would have one light in front of it straight on. If you have two lights, you're going to want to put them where the purple ones are, both at a 45-degree angle facing towards the person, you. If you have four lights and you're extra like me, you would have two lights facing 45 degrees onto the person and two lights facing 45 degrees onto the background. Because those ring lights that you see, the light is going to the background and it creates a certain depth in the background. It helps to get rid of a lot of the wrinkles and stuff. And it really allows the person on camera to pop away from the background. So if you want to be extra and do all that, you can, and if you have the space and the budget. For tripods and background, the tripod just needs to be tall enough to set the phone or camera at your eye level. So it's going to depend on your height. All tripods in the description will have the height that they can reach at the highest. And you'll just want to make sure you figure out where that is at your eye line so that the tripod is high enough. Typically, tripods are like anywhere from $10 to $100 depending on the features you want, and I will put some in the links. As for a background, you could use a gray or blue background. The majority of people prefer a gray or blue background when looking at your self tapes. And you can do a light gray, a dark gray, a light blue, a dark blue. This one is chromo blue. So it's like green screen, but in blue. And I got it because of the size that it was. So you see, my gray one is smaller. It is 5 feet and 10 feet long, whereas my blue one is 10 feet across and 10 feet long. So although it's squished up in the picture, I could pull that blue out several more feet because it is 10 feet long. After you hang it up, you want to steam it so that way you can get rid of a lot of those wrinkles. And again, you don't necessarily have to use one. If you have just a plain white wall that is just plain, nothing on it, no design, no nothing, that could also work really great. But if you're looking to invest, these are the types of backgrounds you could get. I hung mine up with a basic curtain rod, like the one that costs $2 and is basic. If you would like me to go in more detail, let me know. The equipment, in terms of microphone, you could buy a lapel mic or a Bluetooth mic. I have these two lapel mics. The one on the top you see would connect into a lightning phone, so like an iPhone. And the one on the bottom is meant to connect into the regular aux, and that would be into my Mac laptop. And then that little black piece that you see away from both of the mics, that hooks onto the mics and allows you to attach it to your clothing or to your hair or to whatever, so that way it stays where you want it. And I bought these. I don't really use them. I find that most of the time my house is quiet enough and I get good enough quality from my iPhone, but they're a good thing to have. And I use them a few times when I need it. If there might be like construction going on outside my apartment, or like when the lawnmower people are right underneath my balcony, then I'll use the mic. But I don't use it that often. Although I do know a lot of people suggest it. I've never had anybody complain about my sound, and I get bookings off my self tape. So I'm pretty sure the sound is okay without these mics. These were both like $10. I'll put the links in the links for Modelesque Life. As for framing, if you are doing hands without your face, this would be how you would frame your hands. You would want palms up and palms down. Framing in general is going to be landscape, not horizontal. Landscape. Like 99% of the time, landscape. If you're doing your runway walk or something, of course, that's probably going to look better in portrait, but a lot of times people are going to ask for landscape. When it comes to a full body shot and a head shot, these would be the framing that you would do for full body. You want to make sure you get all the way to the toes and all the way to the top of the head. Leave a little bit of space in between the top of the head and the cutoff, and same with the shoes to the cutoff. As for the headshot, it would probably be about the top of your bra to the top of your head. Again, don't cut off your head. When it comes to profiles, you would want to turn 90 degrees. If it is a headshot profile, you're going to crop it at about your shoulder and make sure you get all the way to the top of your head or hairstyle. And for a full body, get all the way to the top of your head and all the way to the bottom of your shoes, and even leave a little bit of room. But make sure you are indeed turned fully 90 degrees. But like I did, you see, you can separate your legs a little to show a little bit more of your shape. Some more tips for self taping. Do a test for lighting, sound, framing, and hair and makeup. So take a quick video, just say hi, hello, hello, how are you? And then go back and listen to that. Listen to the sound, look at the lighting, look at your hair and makeup. Sometimes with the backgrounds, it can change the way that the camera is focusing on a certain color. So you may have to move the focus. And then when you do start filming and you like the lighting, the sound, the framing, the hair, the makeup, the styling, and everything, you want to take a beat before you talk or start the action. This will help you for editing. And you want to wear higher necklines as much as possible to avoid looking naked. You see here in my example where I have this black tank top on, we see a lot of my chest and a lot of skin, and my hair is even covering it on one side. So it's a lot of skin showing, and we may not want that. You want to try and avoid that and wear like my red top where it comes all the way up to my neck. And here you see the blue top is showing even with the crop on the headshot profiles. If I was wearing a spaghetti strap or a tube top, it would look like I was naked. So you want to wear high necklines to avoid that as much as possible. Avoid noisy jewelry or clothing. That's going to mess up your sound. You want to play it back before you send it. So after you're all done and you've decided, like, okay, this is the one, I've edited it, it's the one I like, play it back, make sure everything's working, make sure the sound is working. You never know. Technology screws up sometime, and you want to make sure you're sending in a good submission. Mark your spot. So on the ground, you want to try and mark your spot. Use some tape, painter's tape, or put something on the floor, put a piece of paper, put a notebook, something so you know where your mark is. So that way you are in the center of the frame and you aren't too close where you're then cutting off part of your head. You want to stay in your spot. So definitely mark your spot. And maybe use a mirror. Sometimes I set up the camera so the back camera is facing me. I cannot see myself. And then I put a mirror that sees the front of my phone so I can look in the mirror and see the phone that sees me. And then that way I can make sure my framing is correct. Now that takes a lot of extra setup and you may not have the space or mirrors for that. But if you do, I found it to be very helpful. That's everything for now on self tapes. If you'd like me to go further in depth in them, I absolutely can. Please comment below if you have any questions or comments. I would love to hear if this has helped you or worked for you. You can email me or share it publicly using the hashtag Modelesque Mindset. And as always, if you would like to book a virtual one-on-one, the link is provided.